This is Dr. Larry Green with Bokashicycle. We've been talking about how easy it is to ferment, pickle all of your organic waste, whether it's cooked or raw, and to return it to the garden where it can do some real good. And in the process, we eliminate the greenhouse gases, we get rid of the garbage smell, we get rid of flies and vermin. Animals won't seek this material, and we're converting it all, 100% of our waste material, into nutrients that are now going to feed our plants. In the process, we're also restoring the balance of microbes in the soil, making the garden much richer and healthier for those plants, and we're getting rid of our garbage can. We talked about how simple it is using true fermenters, and the process simply involves placing a layer of your food scraps in the bottom of the fermenter each day, sprinkling some of the culture mix powder onto the surface, sealing it up and allowing it to process for 24 hours, continuing this process day after day like a peanut butter and jam sandwich. Waste powder, waste powder, waste powder. It's going to take about 6 to 8 weeks to fill your fermenter. Today I'm going to show you a little bit more detail about this process and what it looks like. So here I have a fermenter that's been in process for several weeks now. It's about 3/4 full of fermented material. There's no odor or smell. When it's sealed, of course, you're not going to smell anything at all. Most people process this right in their kitchen, or you can do it in your garage. It doesn't matter. We recommend keeping it near your kitchen or someplace close to room temperature. That makes it a little bit more efficient. As the weather gets very cold, the processing takes a little bit longer. But the good thing about this process is even when it's cold, the process continues. We talked about the process involving enzymes that are produced by the microbes in their degrading of the food waste, and in that process they create a liquid. So at the bottom of the fermenter there's a valve with a spigot, and this connects to a chamber that's separated from the fermented material where all of the liquid will accumulate. And so we can collect that liquid about every 3 or 4 days. If we open this valve, we should be able to get a little bit of liquid. Sometimes you'll have to tip it forward a little bit. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of liquid. I haven't collected all of it here, but just in a matter of moments, by tipping it slightly forward, I've collected approximately 200 milliliters of a amber, slightly turbid or milky liquid. The clarity or clearness of the liquid is not very important. It can vary considerably depending upon what's going into the fermenter. But this liquid is a fertilizer, and you can dilute this 2 tablespoons into a gallon of water and spray it on your flowers, your house plants, or out in the garden, or put it on the grass, put it in the vegetable garden, and it will deliver those nutrients and the microbes back to the soil and greatly stimulate and help the plants. It is concentrated. It must be diluted with water. You're going to get way more material than you're ever going to need on any daily basis. And so the concentrated material you can dispose of by just pouring it down the drain. And what it will do there is eat up the gunk and the organic material that's trapped down in the U-trap. Or if you have a septic tank, it'll actually help clear out the material that accumulates out in the field where the rate of flow is slowed down. So we really get something valuable out of this process even while the material is breaking down. However, most of the material that's being fermented will not be a liquid. It'll actually be kind of a pulpy, pickled material. You'll have banana peels, eggshells, and other materials in there. So I'm going to take a look inside here so we can get a look at it. Now, as far as the smell is concerned, it's not a garbage smell anymore. It has a kind of a vinegar, acrid, somewhat sweet smell to it. It's pungent, but it's not objectionable like rotting garbage. What's very nice about this process is that if you smell anything at all that smells like rotting meat or rotting garbage, it just simply means you didn't add enough culture powder. You need to sprinkle a little bit more powder in the process. You can notice on the lid here there are some white spots, kind of fuzzy, almost looks like fur or hair. Those are mycelia, which are from molds and fungi, and that's the natural part of the breakdown, and it's very healthy for your garden. If we look at the bottom of the plate here, we can see more of it. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to tip this forward so you can look inside here. And inside you can see that there's a lot of that white material. Most of what's in here is kind of brown. You might possibly recognize some onion skins, a few eggshells, but generally speaking, most everything has been pickled, and so it's well on its way, ready to go to the garden. So that's how simple it is, and each day we just simply add another layer with a sprinkle of powder until it's full, and then we leave it alone. Now this was all the way to the top and full about 3 or 4 days ago, but it's collapsed at least a quarter of the distance down, releasing more liquid as the enzymes continue to do their work to break material down. In the end, and we'll show you this in our next discussion, when you place this in the garden and mix it well with the soil, the earthworms and the microbes in the soil will come to break down the rest of the material, and they are constantly starving and looking for nutrients, if you will. And so any opportunity to activate and feed on nutrients is a great boost to the garden because it expands their population, and the relationship between the microbes and the plants is simply that the roots feed the sugars to the plants. The roots feed the sugars to the microbes in return for the favor. The microbes actually take the organic material and feed it back to the plants. The last point I want to make that I think is also very important for those of you that are interested in gardening and studied gardening a little bit is, as many of us are aware of, the problem with many fertilizers is they're very water soluble. Because we have nitrates and phosphates and other things in those fertilizers, in those synthetic fertilizers that we add to the soil, we're really skewing the soil in a way that is not very natural, and that's one of the reasons why the microbes in the soil are depleted over time as we continue to use pesticides and fertilizers. All these chemicals are toxic to the microbes. The advantage of the anaerobic fermentation, Bokashi fermenting, is that instead of oxidizing all of our waste material, we are actually breaking it down in enzymes in a non-oxidative process, so we don't end up with all of the nitrates and the phosphates. Many of the nutrients here are in the form of small proteins, amino acids, cyclic structures, but they're not as readily water soluble, which means they're not leached out of the soil so quickly when it's watered or when we have rain. So the other advantage, aside from getting very natural nutrients back to the soil, is those nutrients tend to stay in the soil where they've been placed. They feed the microbes, so we've built up a good balance of both microbes and nutrients that are less water extractable and soluble. In our next discussion, we'll talk a little bit more about burying the fermented material, and in the meantime, I'm going to take this good Bokashi tea, dilute it in some water, and put it into my vegetable garden. Thank you very much.